Welcome to another episode of my podcast, That's Fine With Me. Today I'm going to be talking about my roots in the country that I came from, not even came from, where I live. So I'm from Russia, basically. I'm from Moscow, and I live in Russia, and I live in Moscow. A couple of weeks ago, I got a comment from someone, I have no idea who this was, and telling me, oh, you look like Russian, and your interior design is Russian, and you have our shops, and this like that. Very interesting. And I got a reply from this person. I said, yeah, I did not hide this information, this fact that I'm from Russia. And during my first videos, that was my first ever vlog on my channel, and my second video on my channel, I talked about going to Sokolniki Park that is based in Moscow. And out of nowhere, this person deleted his comment when I got a reply from him. And I told him that my nationality doesn't actually forbidden me to film in English. That's why this channel is not about my country. It's not about the city that I live in. It's mainly about makeup. It's about my interpretation of beauty. It's about styling, closet, and so on and so forth. I don't really want to involve anything else but beauty content and my makeup itself. So then I'm going to be talking about Moscow the way I live here, what we have, and so on and so forth, in case you're interested. Okay, it's a podcast, why not? We are talking about different things. By the way, real quick, if you're interested in some specific questions and specific things, find in the description box my mail, and you can ask me all of these questions. I'm going to be more than glad to answer all of them. It's going to be 100% anonymous, so yeah, you can check out my mail in the description box. In my recent vlogs, let's say, with my husband, we went down the center of the city. We actually had a lot of things to do, and I showed you a scoop of something that we have in the country. And I want to specify that Moscow, it's like a capital of Russia, and that is the main reason why the salaries might be a little bit higher in my region, let's say, than in some other towns and cities. Though I can tell you, Vladivostok, it's really close to China. I guess they have really nice salaries over there as well, but people don't really want to go there. They want to go to the capital, which is explainable. I know a lot of people, they go to New York, LA, and maybe Washington if they want to start a political career or something like this. But of course, people are going to some huge cities to find their opportunities and to start their own businesses, so on and so forth. I don't really blame them for that. I guess the average salary, it's really hard to say, but right now it's maybe like $1,000, even in Moscow. And some people get even less than that, maybe like $800 or even $500 to live. That is the main reason why where you see, if you checked out my vlog, I showed you the marketplace where you can go and purchase some food products. This is the cheapest, first of all, this is the cheapest market in Moscow. I don't even think in Moscow, I guess in the whole Russia or something like this, because I can literally buy some products and some food in this market for some reasonable prices. But I can tell you, it's not cheap to go to like ordinary shops. For example, Auchan. I don't know if you have anything similar, but this shop came originally from France. And when I went to Paris in 2008, actually, I checked out their Parisian sort of Auchan. This was similar to our Auchan, but a little bit bigger in size. Most of these shops, they are not in the city. A lot of them you can find in the city, but some of these like huge malls, they are in suburbs because it's really easy to build in a suburb that huge building instead of building this in the center of the city or somewhere in the city. Especially I'm talking about Moscow. We can buy a lot of things on the market with my husband for the salary that we have, and my mom can afford a lot of things in this market. But with a salary $500, you can't afford a lot of things. So when you see that I show you that this cottage cheese or this cheese is maybe like $2.50 per kilo, you think, oh, it's so inexpensive. We have crazy prices right here. But then let me remind you that the wages and the salaries in your city, in your country, might be a little bit different. For example, I watched Jacqueline Hill, and she told the audience that she went to this shop and she purchased a lot of things, a lot of products, and she spent $150 for that. And she wasn't, just suppressing her wishes with maybe like, oh, I'm not buying this, it's too expensive. Oh, I'm not buying that. So $150 is quite a lot, but she purchased a lot of different products. And one of the journalists from United States, someone Fox, I don't remember his name. I'm not or Carlson, someone like him from Fox TV or something. He came to Moscow and he purchased a lot of things for $100, and he said, "Oh my God, it's so inexpensive in the United States. You can't afford that." But you can compare this with prices in my country, I mean in Russia, and with prices in the United States, because the salaries in the United States are much higher, sometimes much higher than in Russia. And I told you that the average salary in Russia is about 500, maybe $800. If you feel more or less comfortable, middle class, you might have $1,000 or $1,200. And if you're like super with like nice salary, it's going to be maybe $3,000. That is a lot. And it's just like for Russia, for Moscow, the capital of Russia, it's quite a lot. If we're going to St. Petersburg, the prices in restaurants, they're going to be a little bit lower than in Moscow. And I remember I wanted to check out one restaurant and I found the website and was like, oh, the prices are super low. And then I realized that these prices were in St. Petersburg, not in Moscow. And Moscow prices were absolutely different. So it's a little bit higher. And yeah, I can't say we're struggling. That we don't really have products. Most of the brands, they just renamed their companies. If that was sort of like Mingo, if I'm mistaken, this is a Poland brand. Now it's M and G. So it's sort of like Mingo, but without A and O. It's M and G. And a lot of this type of business owners, they just renamed, and probably they sold their business to some other like Russian owners. I don't know. A lot of those businesses were sold to the government, and then government sold it to some business owners with the support of the government and taxes and all of that. I have no idea. Yeah, it was crazy. I guess when it was on the 24th of February 2022, when this whole thing started, people were crazy. They literally purchased everything in packs, in enormous, gigantic amounts. Like if you needed a toilet paper, people would go and purchase 12 or maybe 20 packs of toilet paper. And if they needed some rice, they would go and purchase, 20 or 50 packs of rice. And later on, government started kind of making sure that people can't buy this more than 5 packs of rice or 5 packs of sugar within one time. So you couldn't buy this more than 5 packs, I guess. Then in Russia, we have a service. It's called My Documents. I actually showed you in my vlog. And this is super handy. That I can tell is super cool, because right now I can tell you for sure this is the most, like, this service is great because you can go and submit a lot of different documents in Russia in one place. For example, you need a driving license. You need to redo your driving license every 10 or 15 years. I don't know, probably every 10 years. My husband is about to change his driving license. So he can go to this place, and in one place he can take a photo, and then he can submit his documents. And when these documents are ready, he can come and grab them. You don't really need to go to some like different places as it used to be years ago. For example, you gave birth and you need a birth certificate. So you go to this place and you get a birth certificate in the same place as a driving license. When I needed to change my passport, I went to this place, My Documents. The name of this place is My Documents. You go there and you actually submit all these documents. This is something that is super easy to do, and it's really handy. You can find this anywhere else in so many different districts. It's not only in Moscow, it's all over the country, and it doesn't really matter where you live in a village. It doesn't have to be really far from your village to get your documents, submit your documents, and get your documents. So I can tell you a lot of things you can get through your personal app. So we have 2 or 3 apps, if I'm mistaken, like main apps. The first one is some sort of government service where you have your own, not even documents, but everything is linked to this app. Your driving license, your passport, you can even link your credit card if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not really sure. And if you need some sort of certificates, if you need some things that are in the base, like database, let's say, then you can always check this out and submit some documents to receive them. A lot of documents, you're not printing them out. They are electronic, and this is very handy, especially when you're selling an apartment or purchasing some new apartment. You don't really need a lot of the documents. Most of them are in this app, and you go to the bank and you just sort of exchange some information, private information, and then you purchase and sell through this bank with these apps. I know that my cousin, she purchased an apartment this fall, and it took them literally a day or two to purchase. And all of these documents, they're in these apps. You don't really get a printed option. You can print this out, but you have the expiration date, sort of, and every 6 months, you would need to redo the document and print this out. For some of these documents, you can get them for free. Some of these documents you have to pay. It's not a crazy amount of, like, the price is not crazy, probably like $3 or $4, maybe $5 if you really need the documents, but not all of them are for money. Some of them are free. Then I can tell you a lot of thrift stores, the prices, I guess, going crazy everywhere all over the world. It's not only Russia, it's not only United States, I guess it's everywhere. Where I went to purchase my Reebok sneakers, and I really like them, but the price was $50. Probably for some countries, $50 is not a lot, but for Russia, it's quite a lot if you have a salary for $1,000. Especially some other, if we're talking about my expired makeup, I can tell you it's like $50 for a lipstick. It's crazy. I would never give it. And for Giorgio Armani, they're asking $50 right now, $50 or $60. Some prices go up to $70 for a lipstick. That is crazy. I know IT specialists and IT in Russia, they get nice payments. My friend, she has a friend of hers, and her husband, he works for IT company, and they actually moved to a little bit different country because they needed some access to some sort of documents. Or I have no idea why they moved there, and they have the salary of like $4,000 or $5,000. That is really good for Russia. It's like very good for Russia, and not only for Russia, but I guess for other countries as well. Depends on, for example, Myanmar country, they do not have such salaries. Maybe they do, but most of the time they get the salary as in Russia, maybe even less, $200 or $300. Yeah. I really love the center of the city, and I showed you in my vlog as well, the center of the city with all the buildings, and it's super pretty. At the same time, it's very expensive to live in the center of the city. I guess it's similar to Manhattan, where like Sex and the City, and you know that it's expensive to live there. Back then in like 90s or early 2000s, when they showed the episode with Carrie, she was like renting for $1,000 or a little bit less or more, and that was a lot back then, and right now it's still a lot for Moscow. But I guess you can find some apartments for $1,000, maybe $2,000 in the center of the city. It might be a one-bedroom apartment, but still, you might find this. A little bit different thing to tell you, I see a lot of people, especially in New York, they're saying that they don't have their own laundry room. They don't have washing machines. That is crazy. I guess every single apartment in Russia has a washing machine. We don't really have, we don't really have the building, I guess, with the washing machines. So you actually do your laundries at home. It doesn't really matter how small your apartment is, but all of this washing machine, you can get them in a bathroom. And on top of this washing machine, they have a sink. So you have a sink on top of your washing machine, and then you go to maybe like living room, and you have this weird, I don't know, maybe I can find it somewhere, weird stuff to dry your own laundry. So yeah, basically none of us go to some special places to wash the clothes. All of us have washing machines. What else can I tell you? I can tell you that it's not really expensive to live, because most of Russians, they have either mortgages or they have their own apartments. And of course, a lot of people are renting. But if they have a chance to purchase their own apartment, a Russian person will do. I can tell you that in suburbs, a 2-bedroom apartment is probably $80,000, maybe less or more. And it's not furnished, but with more or less, it is more or less renovated. If we're talking about 3-bedroom apartments, it's going to be a little bit pricier, probably like $100,000. And if we're talking about something a little bit closer to the center of the city, it's going to be $250,000 or $300,000, maybe $200,000, approximately like that. And if we're going to the center of the city, of course, the prices are going to be much higher. It's going to be like $800,000, maybe $1 million for an apartment. Depends on. But you can find different types of apartments. And as for your own house, if you really want to build your own house in Russia, I guess it's going to be cheaper than in. It's going to be probably cheaper than in the United States, and we have a diversity in building houses. A lot of American houses, they do have. In my vlog, I showed you my husband was sort of building a new wall out of wood with a little bit of some other like wood something. I don't know how to explain it. Plywood, I guess, with the plywood. And it's not the way Russian sort of houses are built. If you're the owner of this house, most of the time we have a little bit different materials, and I guess it's a little bit better quality. Not always, but it's a little bit better quality because it's not gonna rot. Wood can rot easily, and if we're talking about foam blocks, this is a little bit different material. With foam blocks, it's a little bit more stable, and it's definitely not gonna rot, and you don't really have to take care of your own building. I guess building in the United States is pricey when you see the prices through TikTok and other platforms, but they're still using a lot of wood and low quality wood, I'd say. Even celebrities, they're paying for the wood. In Russia, this is the cheapest thing to get out of the wood. If you really want to have a quality, like good quality house, it's going to be with probably foam blocks or with the bricks. They can use some sort of bricks. It's going to be expensive because you have to take care of these bricks, but still people, they prefer this option. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than the wood, but it's going to be probably the same price as the United States, maybe even cheaper. The maintenance, you can have gas. Not every single region has gas, but you can actually have access to gas if you live in a village. Not every single village, but some villages, they do have this opportunity, and it's going to be super cheap to use gas because, for example, my parents in their own house, it's just they have a big house, quite a big house, not a huge one, but still. They paid probably $30 or $40 during, like in January and February for heating the house. So it was like maybe $40, I guess, to pay for gas to heat your own house, to warm your own house. And let's compare this to the electricity. People that do not have gas and they have only electric heaters, let's say, they would need to pay probably $300, $300 and $400 during winter time, because winter in Russia can be different. It's actually, I guess, really similar to New York winter seasons, I guess. We do have fall, we do have winter, spring, and summer. Last summer wasn't that good. It was quite cold summer, but the fall was really warm. This winter was super snowy. I actually was tired taking care of the snow with my husband, but that is it. I don't really want to shit my own country. I'm just saying that what we have some advantages and some disadvantages. We have my documents and some other things. By the way, if we're talking about exams in schools, right now our exams are super tough. I mean, kids are freaking nervous every single time they try to pass their own exams because they get them in the room, and especially in Moscow and St. Petersburg and big cities, they get them in the same room, and if someone made a mistake, they have to stop the whole exam, then they have to bring another blank, and then they have to start over. Then they actually search you before the exam if you have any phones or anything like this. And then when you get the results, some computers might actually not recognize your answer. That's why you might get a little bit lower, points for your exam. It's crazy. The system, I guess, the education system has dropped tremendously in Russia. I mean, 20 years ago or maybe like 15 years ago, it was much better because you could actually talk to a teacher and actually explain some things. And yeah, we have some disadvantages and we have advantages. I guess it's everywhere, all over the city. You get advantages and disadvantages in every single country. So yes, this is it. Love you all, and I hope I'm going to see you in my next podcast. I don't really think we have to talk about Russia and Moscow a lot because, it's just something that, yeah, I grew up here, and I have my vlog not related to this topic. I just needed to clear this up for someone who accused me in being shady and not sharing this fact that I'm from Russia and from Moscow. I'm not ashamed of this fact. of my nationality. I mean, I didn't choose to be Russian. I didn't choose to be any other nationality, but I'm proud that I am who I am, and I'm not going to be shamed for being someone who I am. Okay, guys, love you all, and I'm going to see you in my next podcast. Hopefully, till my next time. Bye bye.